All right, let's talk about unions. Specifically, our union, the Communications Workers of America. It's easy to forget how this whole thing started. Picture this, it's the late 1930s, and telephone workers are scattered across countless small independent groups. They had passion, sure, but they were like a bunch of tiny boats trying to fight a battleship. The big telecom companies could just pick them off one by one. So, in 1938, they decided to get organized. They formed a national union because they knew deep down that a single loud voice is much harder to ignore than 1,000 quiet whispers. It was a brilliant move, a real game changer. This idea of unity is baked into our DNA. As the CWA grew, it became clear that different industries had different needs. A broadcast technician doesn't face the exact same challenges as a telephone line worker, and a flight attendant's contract looks very different from a public worker's. That's why a national bargaining unit like our Telecommunications and Technologies unit were created. They were designed to be specialized teams like the Avengers of Labor. Each unit would focus on its specific sector, bringing together members with shared employers and shared problems. This structure allowed us to be both big and small at the same time. A massive national union with expert teams ready to fight for specific contracts. The T&T unit in particular was formed to represent those of us working with the giants of the telecom world. Think AT&T, Avaya, Lumen, Frontier, and many others. These aren't just local mom and pop shops, they are massive, sprawling corporations that operate across state lines and frankly have more lawyers than a season of Law and Order. Our unit was established to level that playing field, the T&T sector. It ensures that when we go to the bargaining table, we aren't just a collection of disconnected locals, disconnected districts, and disconnected bargaining tables. We are a unified force, armed with research, mobilization expertise with the National Mobilization Committee, legal representation, and a history of winning strong contracts for hundreds of thousands of members over the decades. So, the T&T unit isn't just some random department with a fancy name. It is a direct result of our union's history and a practical solution to a very real problems on a national scale. It's the institutional memory, the strategic command center, and the support system for every local that falls under its national umbrella. It was built on the fundamental principle that we are stronger together, especially when facing employers who have every resource at their disposal. This structure has been the bedrock of our success for a very long time, allowing us to secure the wages, benefits, and working conditions that we have today. To forget that history is to risk repeating the mistakes of the past. Now let's get to the main event, and it's a deeply concerning. There is a proposal on the table, an amendment that sounds deceptively simple. It suggests dissolving the Telecommunications and Technologies unit. Yes, you heard that right. The very structure we just discussed, the one designed to coordinate our fight against some of the largest corporations in the country, that support could be dismantled and irreparable harm done to all Communications Workers of America members. On the surface, this might be presented as a simple administrative tweak, a bit of organizational housekeeping. But let's be perfectly clear, this is not just moving some chairs around on the Titanic. This is a fundamental change to how our union operates at its core, and it would have massive consequences for all of us. Real-life consequences. So what would actually happen? If this amendment passes, the T&T unit as a national coordinated body would cease to exist. The responsibilities it currently holds, things like coordinating national bargaining, providing expert mobilization support, legal expertise, and maintaining decades of records, would be scattered, lost and gone forever. The idea is that these duties would be absorbed by the various CWA districts. Instead of one central hub for all things national, we would have several regional districts trying to handle these complex national issues on their own. It's like firing the head coach and telling each player to come up with their own game plan right before the Super Bowl. This shift would dramatically change the landscape of our union, our strength, our participation, and our organizing. Imagine preparing for national contract negotiations with a company like AT&T. Right now, the T&T unit leads that charge. They have the staff, the experience, mobilization program, and the historical knowledge to develop a unified strategy, communicate those strategies, and execute. If the unit is dissolved, that central leadership experience and history vanishes. Each district would be left to fend for itself, trying to coordinate with other districts while also managing all their other local responsibilities. Which, let's be honest, isn't the ideal situation for members who fall under the T&T umbrella. This would create inconsistencies, potential rivalries, and a whole lot of confusion, which, by the way, is exactly what management loves to see. A divided union is a weak union, which is why this proposal is so dangerous. The proposal effectively trades a centralized, expert-led system for a decentralized, fragmented one without a plan. It would mean that a local in California and a local in New York, both dealing with the same national corporation, might receive different levels of support and strategic direction, different contracts that compete for a race to the bottom. The national unity that has been created is by far our greatest strength, and that would be fractured along geographical lines. We would be handing a massive advantage to the very companies we are supposed to be fighting. This isn't a minor adjustment, it's a seismic shift that could weaken our bargaining power for generations to come. It's a solution in search of a problem, and one that could create many new problems in the process. Let's be brutally honest about what the T&T unit actually does, because its value goes far beyond a name on an organizational chart. First and foremost, there's national bargaining. Negotiating with corporate behemoth is not a local affair. The T&T unit provides the essential, centralized command that allows us to present a united front and deploys the national mobilization team to train and activate our members. The office analyzes the company's finances, track industry trends, and craft bargaining proposals that benefit everyone, not just one region. Without this central nervous system, our negotiating strategy and mobilization would become a chaotic, fractured mess. Each district would be reinventing the wheel, and the company could exploit our lack of coordination by offering different deals in different places, pitting us against each other, wasting our time, efforts, and resources. Then there's the legal muscle. The T&T unit has specialized legal staff who live and breathe telecom labor law. They understand the intricate details of our national contracts and have decades of experience fighting grievances and arbitrations against these specific companies. They know the company's tactics because they've seen them all before. Dissolving the unit would mean losing this dedicated team. We'd be relying on district councils who, while skilled, are not specifically used for T&T. They have to deal with every type of employer in their region, along with newly created segregation if this proposal passes. Losing that specialized expertise is like trading a world-class heart surgeon for a medical technician right before open heart surgery. It's a massive, unnecessary risk. And let's not forget the boring but critical stuff: record-keeping. The T&T unit is the guardian of our history. It holds decades of bargaining notes, arbitration decisions, and contract interpretations. This isn't just dusty paperwork, it's our institutional memory. When a company tries to misinterpret a contract clause from 1982, the T&T unit has the records to prove them wrong. Spreading these records across different districts is a recipe for disaster. Documents could be lost, historical context could be forgotten, and we would lose the ability to build on the victories of the past. It's like tearing pages out of our own playbook and scattering them to the wind. Finally, the unit serves as a vital support system for smaller locals. A small local with only a few hundred members doesn't have the resources to hire its own researchers or legal experts to take on the giants in independence. The T&T unit levels the playing field, providing them with the same high-quality support that larger locals receive. It ensures that every member, regardless of the size of their local, has the full backing of the national union's expertise. Dissolving the unit would leave these smaller contracts and locals possibly isolated and vulnerable, where we have dedicated resources available no matter how big or small. It would create a system of haves and have-nots within our own union, which is the exact opposite of what we all stand for. So, why on earth would anyone propose such a thing? The main argument you'll hear is a familiar one: cost savings. The claim is that by eliminating the T&T unit and its staff, the union can save money. And yes, on a simple balance sheet, eliminating jobs in a department will in fact reduce expenses. It's basic math, except this math is fuzzy. The districts will use the same or more resources than that of the T&T, but this is a dangerously simplistic way to look at the situation. It's like thinking you're saving money because we break it up in little piles and separate it on a balance sheet. But the representation isn't unified or favorable, just segregated. Sure, you have more cash in your districts today, but you are completely exposed the moment a fight breaks out in multiple geographical locations. We all see how each district works together, ensuring all boats rise together when bargaining separately. This is a classic case of being penny-wise and pound-foolish. Let's compare these supposed savings to the actual cost. We still have to pay to staff at least one staff member in each district to handle things, which will actually cost more in administration fees. The thought is minuscule compared to the potential losses at the bargaining table, because we would be segregated negotiating. A single percentage point on a wage increase or a slight change in healthcare contributions in a national contract is worth millions, even billions of dollars over the life of the agreement, not only to our members, but to our collected union dues. A well-prepared, unified bargaining committee supported by the T&T unit is far more likely to win that extra point through solidarity. The savings from dissolving the unit would be wiped out in an instant by a single, poorly negotiated contract, or additional staff needed, additional benefits costs and meetings. We would be trading long-term strength for the thought of short-term and frankly non-existent savings. Furthermore, this argument ignores the hidden costs of decentralization. Districts would have to hire new staff or divert existing staff to try and replicate the work of the T&T unit. The learning curve would be steep and costly. There would be duplication of effort, as different districts independently research the same national issues. There would be increased travel costs for inter-district coordination meetings. These new expenses would quickly eat into any initial savings. We wouldn't be saving money, we'd just be spending it less efficiently and getting a worse result for it. It's a fundamentally flawed business model for a union. In the end, this is a choice about what we value. Do we value a slightly lower expense line on a budget report, or do we value the collective power, unity, and expertise that has protected our jobs and livelihoods for decades? The T&T unit is more than a cost. It's an investment in our own strength. It's the infrastructure that allows us to stand shoulder to shoulder and speak with one voice. To dismantle it for the sake of saving a few dollars is to fundamentally misunderstand what a union is and why we need one in the first place. Before you cast your vote, I urge you to think about the future of our union. Think about the legacy we want to leave. Let's choose strength. Let's choose unity. Let's choose to protect what we have built together. Vote no on the amendment to eliminate the telecommunications and technologies sector.